businesses were closing down. People are leaving the country. We've got the highest rate of millionaires leaving the country of any country in the world. And what Labour seem hell-bent on doing is making it even worse.
Yeah.
So putting the taxes up by 35 billion, making the net zero rules so tough that it kills business because they can't get cheap energy. And we've seen the steel industry go under. We're seeing refineries get...
Liz Truss has always been a magnet for debate in British politics, admired by some for her forthrightness and criticised by others for her willingness to break with party convention. Recently, she found herself back in the headlines after a confrontational live TV exchange with Keir Starmer. What began as a routine broadcast quickly turned into a dramatic moment that could alter public perceptions of the Labour leader. If you follow UK politics, consider subscribing to Dark Britain. Most viewers haven't yet, even though it's free.
Start of the pain. You know, it's going to be a very painful day, but what will happen is because the taxes are going so high, it will stop businesses investing in this country. And what we'll find is next year, Labour want to come back for more. And that is really frightening for our country.
Because they just want to keep feeding the beast, don't they? Because they keep saying there's no money, there's a £22 billion black hole, suddenly it becomes a £40 billion
So what prompted Truss to make such explosive claims about Starmer? British politics has been turbulent lately, from Brexit's fallout to recurrent leadership battles. Many voters feel politicians prioritise power over solving everyday problems. Against that backdrop, Truss made her first major public appearance since standing down and used it to issue a startling accusation. She went beyond critiquing his competence, attacking his character and labelling him one of the most dangerous figures in contemporary British politics. The reaction was immediate. Starmer looked rattled on air, and inside Westminster people began to whisper that this might mark the start of his undoing.
Difference is, in the 70s, we had very powerful unions and an inefficient manufacturing sector. Now we have a very powerful bureaucracy, and they are in charge. The Bank of England, the Office of Budget Responsibility, I know, I've been there. These are the people dictating the policy. And until we actually wrest control away from those bureaucrats and start holding politicians to it.
At the heart of the claim was an allegation that many viewers found shocking. Truss suggested Starmer had been involved in a secret affair that could leave him exposed to blackmail. She argued this raised serious questions about his honesty and judgment. If true, such allegations could damage Starmer's credibility within Labour and beyond. Social media split rapidly between those who accepted Truss's account and those who rallied to Starmer's defence.
The last bunch that were the recipients of this kind of largesse were the Tories, and they were the ones partying in Downing Street and so on. And guess who was on their high horse criticising it all? It was this lot. And that's what people hate. They hate the hypocrisy. They hate the perception of these entitled politicians having a great time. And I tell you what else they hate. They hate the lie.
Suddenly, the public was asking whether there was more to the story. Was Truss hinting at something deeper? She implied this was only the opening salvo, warning that further revelations might follow. Starmer, normally composed, looked increasingly unsettled as pressure mounted. Was this the start of a major political collapse, or simply a move designed to provoke controversy? Either way, Truss hadn't merely reappeared, she had forced Starmer onto the back foot and dragged issues into the open he may have preferred to avoid.
The latest on Keir Starmer and Wardrobe Gate. I was amazed, right? And this is why I know this country is in terrible, terrible shtuck. I watched Channel 4 News last night, and I got to 40 minutes in and I thought, are they going to mention the fact that Keir Starmer is under the cosh here? That, you know, Lord Ali and the revelations coming out of the penthouse, and the £18 million penthouse are getting worse. That, you know,
Despite her brief tenure as Prime Minister, Truss displayed a bluntness many felt was missing from other leaders. Supporters argue that with more time she might have delivered genuine change. Critics counter that her candour made her a disruptive presence. Her abrupt exit left a sense of unfinished business. In a recent interview, she again held nothing back, criticising Starmer and other senior figures. She accused him of an authoritarian streak on free speech through plans to regulate online platforms, warning that such measures risked censorship. Truss said Starmer's proposals could ultimately undermine Britain's democratic freedoms.
Hearing about from Labour is things like fracking. And this is what we need to actually get our economy going. Cheap energy, low costs, make it easy to employ people. They're doing the opposite. They're making it harder to employ people. They're pushing up the energy costs with net zero. and they are making it very, very difficult to go out to work and run a business in this country. And they said they weren't going to hit work.
At a moment when concerns about free expression are rising, Truss insisted that freedom of speech is the bedrock of other rights. Her critique went further. She challenged Starmer's handling of national security, particularly over Islamist extremism. Truss claimed the government had not been fully transparent with the public and raised worries that key information might have been withheld, pointing specifically to the Southport incident. She demanded clarity on what Starmer and senior figures knew and precisely when they knew it.
Party which are desperate to kowtow to the global left, desperate to give in to the eco-extremists, desperate to have more immigration into Britain. But I would like to see the Conservative Party taking a stronger stance, and in particular, being prepared to change the system, because what I found as a minister and as Prime Minister that
The controversy over the Southport episode intensified. Starmer's team denied any cover-up, but scepticism persisted. Public trust, already frayed by Brexit, took another hit as new details emerged. Critics said a lack of openness worsened public suspicion. With misinformation spreading online, calls for clear, honest explanations grew louder. Truss, unfazed, went further still, comparing her clashes with the establishment to confrontations seen around figures such as Donald Trump in the United States.
And to lie in our hands actually lay with unelected bureaucrats, and it became impossible to get things done. So I want to see a Conservative Party that's actually prepared to challenge the status quo, prepared to challenge the system in order to deliver the Conservative policies that, I want to see.
You see, you mentioned all those things about why Labour would be worse. Migration, under a Conservative government running at record.
She argued Britain now needs decisive, unflinching leadership, people willing to challenge entrenched power and prioritise ordinary citizens over political self-interest. Whether voters endorse her tactics or not, Truss's confidence means her voice cannot be easily dismissed. As tensions settle, the country remains polarised. Some see her claims as a potential turning point, others view them as a calculated attempt to deflect from her own record.
In 2005, which created the Supreme Court, which we never had before in Britain, which is now challenging government policy. So I would say what we have got wrong over the last 14 years is we didn't take on that Blair consensus. And now, when we're trying to deliver things like Rwanda, the problem is that we are hidebound by the Blairite legacy, which has essentially tied us up in knots.
Whichever side of the argument people take, one outcome is clear. Truss's return to frontline politics has unsettled Westminster, and she shows no sign of retreating. The public's appetite for political drama and scandal remains strong. From the upheavals of Brexit to recent leadership battles, many voters are losing faith in the old political order. With transparency, free speech and public trust now central to national debate, the clash between Truss and Starmer is only one facet of a broader political struggle.
You talked about things like net zero, you talked about immigration, but let's remember where those policies started. It was the Labour government under Blair that put in place the Climate Change Act.
Yep.
We're struggling to deal with illegal immigration because of the Human Rights Act, which brought the ECHR into UK law, but also...
Wherever you stand, the fact remains that Liz Truss's re-emergence has sent shockwaves through Westminster, and she has made it plain she does not intend to vanish quietly. Interest in political controversy is undimmed. From Brexit's chaos to ongoing leadership contests, growing numbers of voters are disillusioned with traditional politics. With transparency, free speech and trust dominating the conversation, the confrontation between Truss and Starmer forms part of a much wider political picture. Liz Truss has always been divisive, known for a readiness to break ranks, and her recent on-air clash with Starmer once again shook the political landscape, turning a routine debate into a moment few expected.